In this video, I'm going to be talking about the relationship between elasticity of demand and revenue, which is a really important idea in economics and business. So, elasticity of demand is said to be elastic if the elasticity that we calculate is greater than 1. When demand is elastic, greater than 1, then the percent change in quantity will be greater than the percent change in price. So as an example, let me just draw some little arrows here. Let's say our price goes up by this much, but this would be price. But if we have an elasticity which is greater than 1, in other words, an elastic situation, then the percent change in quantity will be greater than that. So I'm going to represent that with a larger arrow. So quantity. So in other words, the quantity is going down more than the price is going up. Well, what effect is this going to have on revenue? Well, when demand is elastic, increasing price will lower revenue. So in other words, you want to increase the price of your product. You think you're going to make some more money, but actually your revenue decreases. So we can take a look at this by going back to our revenue function. Revenue is price times quantity. So when price is increased by 2%, as an example, we know that the quantity will decrease by more than 2%. Because quantity is decreasing more than price is rising, like I showed you over here, the effect on revenue is for it to decrease. This is called the quantity effect, because changes in quantity have a greater effect on revenue than changes in price. So let's look at an example. So we have an elasticity of 1.2. Okay, so that's greater than 1. So we say that this situation is elastic. This is an elastic situation. And so we have revenue is equal to price times quantity. So if price increases by, let's say, this much, then the quantity demanded is going to go down even more. And so consequently, because quantity is going down more than price is going up, revenue will also go down. And by drawing this simple little relationship, this is how I actually remember this relationship. It's just as simple as that. So this is an elastic situation, and an elastic situation, increasing price lowers revenue. Well, what happens if we have elasticity less than 1? If elasticity is less than 1, then we have what is called an inelastic situation. And when demand is inelastic, or less than 1, then the percent change in quantity will be less than the percent change in price. So if we have price going up by this much, quantity demanded will go down, but not as much. The percent change in quantity is less. So I'm representing that by a shorter arrow. Consequently, price goes up a lot, quantity demanded goes down a little, revenue will increase. So when demand is inelastic, increasing price will increase revenue. So again, we can show this through our relationship with R equals P times Q. So let's go right to the example. R is equal to P times Q. So if we have an elasticity of 0.5, that means if price goes up this much, then quantity demanded is going down half of that, 0.5. So because price has the longer arrow, is going up more than quantity demanded is going down, then revenue will increase. And once again, just remember this little relationship and just make this little diagram here, and you can remember the effects on revenue. So increasing price will increase revenue if you have an inelastic situation. And finally, what happens if we have an elasticity of 1? Elasticity of demand is said to be unit elastic if the elasticity is equal to 1. So when the demand has unit elasticity, which is E equals 1, then the percent change in quantity will be equal to the percent change in price. So if price goes up this much, the quantity demanded will go down an equal amount. And so the effects on revenue are neutral. Now, when demand is unit elastic, something else actually of very much of interest to business people happens here. And that is the revenue is actually maximized. So when elasticity is equal to 1, we have a unit elastic situation, unit elasticity, but this is the point where revenue is maximized. So let's go down to our example. We have revenue is equal to price times quantity. If the demand function has elasticity of 1, then price goes up this much, quantity goes down the exact same amount. And so the effects on revenue are neutral, but this is where revenue will be maximized. So if a question was to ask you, find the elasticity where revenue is going to be maximized, you want to set your elasticity function equal to 1. Okay, that is it for this video.